Hello, and welcome to the Be Formless Flow Driven CEO podcast. Today, I'm quite thrilled to have with me Farida Musaddi, all the way from the UAE, Dubai, where it's roughly 11 a.m. on Thursday morning. Welcome, Farida, to the show.
Thank you so much, Belinda. Thank you so much for inviting me here.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to our chat because just having a little quick chat before we, press record, it sounds like you have a lot going on, but ultimately your mission is to make citizens' lives better and generate revenue, from what I can understand.
Absolutely. At Alpha Technologies, we basically are concept creators. We like to curate ideas for governments, for large corporates, where these kinds of solutions are innovative, and they also help in streamlining citizen life. At the same time, generating employment for a lot of people, and as well as revenue generation models for all the stakeholders. So that is how we portray ourselves, and that is what the vision and mission of Alpha Technologies is all about.
I love that. And you started the company in 2022, is that right?
Exactly, in 2022.
And then
That's when we shifted to UAE.
Oh wow. Well. But you've also we're gonna unpack all of this, but you've also then you were telling me you've got this travel and events company, Cruisia, that was started in Spain, and then you've now extended out into the UAE. Well,
Correct. Yeah.
does
So
that
Cruisia started. Yeah.
yeah. No, sorry, you go.
So Cruisia started in the year 2017 in Spain, where my sister-in-law is based. And then later on, we also started an entity in India. And now finally, we've launched this year in Dubai, where we are mainly focusing here in Dubai on corporate travel, corporate events, luxury travel for the HNI and the Ultra HNI network. Concerts, celebrity-based shows. So that's what's the focus of the company here in Dubai.
Oh, my goodness, you have a lot that you do. And then you've been recognized as one of India's top 100 powerful personalities by, is it Gyantor X in 2022?
Glantor.
Glantor,
It's
sorry.
Glantor.
Glantor, yeah,
Yeah,
Glantor X. And then named IT Support CEO of the Year in 2023 by the MEA Markets. It sounds like you've got
correct.
this amazing ability to not only run companies, but like you said, make citizens' lives better, work with various different stakeholders. How do you do it all? How do you juggle it all?
So first of all, it's all about setting your priorities right. You have to prioritize what is there. At the same time, a very good teamwork, because all of us together in the organization, in both Alphate as well as Cruisia, we have our roles defined. So nobody gets into each other's space. I know what is my core strength, and I focus on those things, whereas the other partners, everybody has their core strengths, and that is the domain that they look into. So when we all work together, we collaborate, we network, we believe in working together and having that competitive spirit. So we also collaborate with a lot of other companies, wherein we feel that the work gets bigger, and you are able to do a lot more things rather than you doing everything by yourself. So I think that has helped us venture out into various different branches and streams, at the same time being focused on what the vision of the company is without diluting it, and keeping all the strengths and the energy focused.
I love it. And you've got that, it sounds like you've got this real inclusivity about what you do and how you lead people. Well, talk to me a little bit about that because you're only as good as your team around you, right? And so how do you, yeah, what's your view on, that you're only as good as the team around you and the whole inclusivity of ensuring that everyone's across everything, but also then being able to make those definitive decisions when required as a leader?
True. So even if we talk about our management team, okay, we are a core team of 5 people in Alphateh. And also in Cruisia, we are a core team of 4 people. But then, for example, my strengths is mainly networking, people relationships, and collaboration. So that is what is my focus. At the same time, bringing out the creativity in terms of the kind of events we do or the kind of business ideas that we curate. There's one other person who looks after, driving the sales behind or the operations behind. So everybody has one core strength which they focus on. So if I know that this area is not my jurisdiction, or this is not where my strength lies or my expertise lies in, I would trust the other partner to go ahead with his decisions. Of course, we discuss all the ideas together as a team, and everybody has to be on the same page. But then at the same time, if there is someone in the team who's completely convinced about a certain idea of going ahead and making a decision, then we also respect that. So I think that has enabled us to come this far and have a very strong team. At the same time, as I said, getting into successful partnerships with a lot of people, even otherwise.
I love it. I love it. Tell me, how did you come about starting your own companies? Like what were you doing? Have you always been an entrepreneur, or what's your backstory to coming about with your own companies?
So back there in India, we were in Mumbai, and I was into the education space. I am an educator in the field of computer science again, so that's where my qualifications also lie. I am a master's in computer science, and then around 12 years of experience in the academic industry. So when we shifted to UAE, both me and my husband, even he comes from a strong tech background. So we both wanted to start something in the technology space because that's where our passion lies and our love lies, for technology. And then we went about, we researched a lot. At the same time, we did not want to be just one another IT company who's just offering, its bouquet of services in the same domains, where a lot of other people, with all due respect, are already offering, because there's a lot of competition and a lot of clutter in that market already. So we wanted to do something different. We wanted to carve a niche for ourselves. And that's where we took some time. After forming the company, we did not just go headstrong into searching out for clients. We paused, we connected with a lot of people, a lot of companies worldwide. We onboarded a lot of partners, and that's when we realized that we wanted to get into the space of being concept creators, and we focused the entire planning and the vision of the company towards that direction, and that's what we've been doing so far. As well as travel and events, as far as travel and events is concerned, as I said, my sister-in-law in Spain, she'd already started in 2017. And again, it's a very a very beautiful industry where you get to be creative. And both, again, me and my husband, we love traveling, and we are avid travelers. We like to go to any place and just cover every aspect of it. So I think that was one more reason where we also decided to get into this, because it was family business, and we thought about expanding it here in UAE, where, because back there in India, I was also doing celebrity management
Oh my
for
gosh.
another one of my organizations. So we thought, let's bring everything together here and, plan something big on that front. So that's how Cruisia started here. And we mainly want to focus on the luxury space out here, because there are a lot of HNIs and ultra HNIs here in Dubai. So the scope is very much for that luxury travel sector, where we want to focus on.
And I love it because it's almost like, for me, you've got these two companies, and it's almost like this ecosystem that you're creating. And if we go back to, making citizens' lives better, and then how do you, I guess, then generate revenue around that, but also stakeholders. But it's almost like it's really interesting because when I think about travel, it's, and I love traveling as well, and it's that whole needing to unplug, step away, have some time out to get your ideas, your creative juices flowing to then come back into business. And so you are really demonstrating how you're making citizens' lives better, but not just from separating work and holiday or travel or experiences, but you're putting the two together. And that ultimately is what I feel is about, the new world order, that, it is this whole, what I like to call life work flow. It integrates. A-
True.
And so, yeah, I'd love your thoughts on that because have you thought about how the two businesses somewhat complement, one another, or am I completely putting a different spin on it where you're like, I haven't thought about this before, B?
Uh, Definitely they can. Um, as far as, as you mentioned, making lives better, as you said, you love traveling. Maybe if you are an adventure enthusiast or if you are someone who likes the wildlife. So planning or curating maybe a lovely experience for you in the jungles of Africa where uh, this will be a completely customized journey for you, a one of its kind experience. I think that is what people today are looking out for. When I travel, many a times it's not just me visiting another country, but every person in there, we are so much stressed out in our day-to-day lives that when
Yes.
we go somewhere, we want to have that kind of experience and come back, where you feel that I was just taken to maybe a completely different world at that time. When I'm in that space, I forget everything around me. So that is what we want to bring on the platter for our clients. And also, merging it with the tech space. I'll give you a very small example. So we thought about this concept, which is called as a virtual tour assistant. Many a times what happens is that as travelers, when we move to or go to visit another country where there's a language barrier. Okay, so upon landing, sometimes it gets a little difficult for us to find out where maybe the local pharmacy is, or the local supermarket or the taxi stand, because we're not able to communicate well in their language, and we are stuck. We are left at the mercy of people around to help us, and often at the airport, everybody is a tourist, so it's a bit of a hassle. Now imagine if there was maybe some kiosks at airports, at
Mhm.
taxi stands, at train stations, where any tourist in their own language. So you would have a list of options, list of languages. You choose your language and you can query about whatever local things are there in the vicinity. Where can I find the nearest hospital or a childcare a doctor or maybe a pharmacy? It would help the citizens so much, the tourists so much. At the same time, again, it's a boost of economy for the country or the
Yeah.
government, because you are providing that kind of facility to the people who are coming to your country and giving you that economic benefit. So I think this is where travel tech merges together to come up or with a concept that will benefit so many people in the long run.
Yeah, and I love it, and I do go back to the leadership piece because as someone who works in this space as a leader myself, but also like you said, everyone's stressed out, everyone's busy, we're tired and wired is kind of what we hear all the
Agree.
time. I think the ability to be able to almost switch off, so to speak, to get those creative juices flowing and have those travel experiences. And I love that the way you're talking about the luxe space, not for everybody, but you almost then you come back into your workspace and you're better for it. You're better for it from having the space, having the clarity, having the freedom to have this beautiful experience. But then in the world we're in as well, everything is changing so fast. You would obviously know this as a machine academic, or I think you said computer. I can't remember exactly what you said, but forgive me. But as you've been an academic in this space and place, like it's going so fast. It's rapidly. But there's an opportunity, isn't there, to almost leverage the machine, leverage the AI, and then bring back in that
Correct.
human potential, really dial up our human potential. And so I love
True.
that lens across it as well, in terms of not only just what you've explained, but you mentioned before about leaders and your team and everyone having a strength. I call it a superpower. You're almost firing up that superpower when you have these opportunities to step away and then what you do with it and how you bring it back into work. What's your thoughts on that, Farida?
Um, so I'm sorry, are you specifically asking me about the AI tools which are available in that space?
I'm probably more asking you, yes, I am in a way. I guess probably, I know I jumped around a bit then, but I'm probably more in terms of having the space to essentially subtract from the mind, not have it overloaded, to then be able to come back in, to then be able to leverage the AI tools and use more of them and almost learn faster, but then also
Absolutely.
creating the space to be able to then have more apply more creativity in what you're doing, more critical
Correct.
thinking or critical problem solving, I should say. All the roles that we're seeing that are going to become available in the next, 5 to 10 years. What,
True.
yeah, I guess that was more my question.
So definitely see AI today is the buzzword everywhere.
Yeah,
And wherever you see this in AI, that in AI. How much of AI is being used, that we do not know, because people are just using that word over generously, I would say. But at the same time, see, AI, if you use it as a tool to our benefit, as you explained, that there are a lot of things which can be streamlined, which lets us
oh, I just lost you.
worse, which, hello, can you hear
Hello.
me?
Yeah, I can now. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was saying that maybe AI, these tools, when we leverage them, they let us be away from the day-to-day banter, that I would have to get into, or the nitty-gritties. That lets me be in the more creative space. All right. So I can leverage these tools. What we believe is that use these tools, leverage these tools to streamline your work, to make things better. But at the same time, I think that human touch or the creativity of the human mind, that cannot be paralleled to AI.
No.
So of course not, because let's say when two of us, we are talking to each other today, there's so many things, so many interactions between us. I get to know something about you and you get to know something about me. And maybe down the line, we don't know, maybe not immediately, but maybe 1 or 2 months after, 6 months after, I may have something and I may reach out to you, that you remember we had spoken and I just thought about you because I was doing this. So that's how connections happen,
I
never
agree.
know. And this is not what AI can do. AI cannot replace that human touch, that human mind. So, yes, the AI tools help us to streamline our work, make our lives better, get the workflow done quickly, and that gives the creative mind the more space to think better, to curate better, to come up with more strong thoughts. So I think in that way, we are able to use this technology in a very structured manner.
Yeah, and I love that. I love that so much because the ability to be able to connect more, especially when all the stats around loneliness since the pandemic and everything else. This is obviously
True.
giving us this opportunity to go deeper in terms of our connections, but also, like you say, collaborate, which, AI can to a degree, but it's almost like for me, it's like a bit of a thought starter, right? I'll throw something in, but then I'll want to talk to like yourself or somebody about,
Correct.
hey, I've got this idea, or like you bounce it off. It's like how you work in a team. You're a
True.
networker, you're a collaborator. I'm very similar. I always have lots of ideas. I can see how they come through, but then you want to be able to bring in the particular people that you need to bring in to
Correct.
have those real, authentic conversations where you're
Absolutely.
where you're talking
Absolutely.
to a human. But I think
True,
that can
true.
also then, back into the travel, even the traveling and the experience space, even the way you're introducing technology into that space,
Correct.
it's opening up more freedom and more opportunity
Absolutely.
to be less like this or trying to be stuck in the problem of how the hell do I get from this street to the next street when you're looking at a map or whatever.
Correct. True.
And give you that opportunity to explore more, go deeper, and again, come back to connection. That's ultimately what we're doing here.
Absolutely. And there are so many, what I told you about the virtual tour assistant is just one of it. There are so many other ideas which can be implemented, like let's say you want to visit the Dubai Mall today. You would have to fly down to Dubai and then visit. But let's say you really want to buy something out there, you want to have that experience without, maybe because of commitments, you're not able to come right now. If we have that kind of experience where you actually feel that yes, you are in Dubai Mall and you're walking into a store without physically being there, I think those kind of experiences would be one of a kind. Or maybe in schools,
Yeah.
let's say if I'm teaching children about the Great Wall of China, and where we can actually, rather than a two-dimensional video, show something to them in that 3D space. I think, kids, when they see it, they learn better.
Yes, I
So
agree.
there are so many different ideas which can be curated, and these technologies are very much there. They are getting built. It is just that we have to start using them in all of these different aspects to make the world a really better place.
Yes.
So rather than just restricting them maybe to one industry, you can start using them across multiple industries, and you will be able to see how it can benefit everyone in the long run.
Yes, I love that. And I love the idea. Sorry, I just lost my train of thought. I've been watching your rings and I'm a ring person and I've noticed you've got two beautiful rings on and I keep like when you move your hands around, I'm like, oh my God, they're stunning. So but
Thank
you
you.
were talking about this, I guess, the ability to open things up for people and from a traveling perspective. And I hate it when don't you hate it when you lose that chain of thought and it'll come back to me in a minute. But it was a really important question. No, that's what I was going to ask you. So there it is. Just had to think for a minute. But you talked about AI being a buzzword, right? And there's a lot of hype around AI at the moment, and it's generalist
True.
everywhere. And you said that there's this need or ability for people to probably engage with it more to be able to do what it needs to do to then benefit us more from what we've been talking about. What is the resistance, do you think, that why people aren't necessarily engaging as much as they should or we would like? Is it because this buzzword is just because it's because of the generalist word of AI, people are like, is that the fear? Like, what's the fear? Like, there's people that are using it, like going crazy using it, and then there's people that are not using it at all. At what point do we get to where it becomes just normal part of our everyday lives? Because I don't think we're there yet, or are we?
We are not there yet. I think, as you mentioned, fear. So one of the fear that people have is that AI will replace human jobs. For example, I was on a panel at the Dubai Legislative Week, and I was on a panel with certain lawyers. And the question thrown at me was that, do you think AI will replace lawyers in the long run, or many aspects of the judicial system would be replaced by AI, with contract creation coming up in seconds. So you don't need the local centers where they would come up with the contracts and type them for you. So that is one fear where people feel that their jobs would be overtaken by AI. So maybe that is one of the resistance. Secondly, is yes, there have been instances, where AI has suddenly overpowered the human. So there have been one or two cases where there were machines which were designed to run a particular kind of code. And suddenly the intelligence of the machine took over and it just started working by itself, where the humans could not go in and control it.
Yeah.
Okay. We've seen this in movies. We've seen a couple of instances in real life. So that is also one of the fears, that people feel that if we are sharing too much data on an AI tool, what if one day that tool turns against you?
Mm.
It can actually use all that data, maybe, to blackmail you, to leak your data. So I think these are fears. For the first one, AI can never replace human jobs, as we already discussed, that there are certain strengths
Yeah.
which we humans possess, which AI as a machine cannot take over. For the second one, I think still powerful regulations are required. There have to be control over what AI can access, cannot access, what it can. So I think once those strong regulations are in place, people would be more open to use AI for let's say, more advanced level of work rather than what it is being used to right now. Cross-country legislation, I think that also uh, matters a lot, because when I am using an AI tool which would share data between two different countries, every country has their own regulations. So even that has to be kept in mind. So I think once those things are more in place, people would be more open and welcoming towards the use of AI in multiple other tasks as well.
How far off do you think that is? Like, are we talking next year? Are we talking 2 years? Like, what's your prediction on that? Or you don't have one?
To be honest, with the pace at which things are moving, I think maybe a year or two down the line, there would be a lot many changes that we will see in AI. But the only thing is that people should use and harness AI in the right way rather than just attaching that word to anything and everything that they do to give it that AI front. Because, like many a times, when we visit certain expos and when we meet people, so the name itself has AI, but when we talk to them, we actually do not know where is AI actually being used in the entire concept that they have or in the services that they offer. So AI is not only automation. When you're automating things, that's not AI. AI is when you're putting that intelligence into it. When that machine is doing things with its own thought rather than you giving it the instructions or you just automating or digitizing it. So I
That's
think that
really
is
interesting.
something.
I hadn't thought about that. I hadn't thought about that. I feel like you'd be someone who would be a great educator on some different terms to use instead of this general AI, because you're right, it's so generalist at the moment. Like there's no, you've just, I mean, I might sound a bit silly, but like, I'm just being honest here, like the automation versus the intelligence piece. I hadn't thought about it that way. Because I just thought about it as okay, I'm using AI. I've been, I did a course back in 2023 on it around how to, leverage the human potential side, and then how do you automate and make it more productive for you. But I hadn't thought
Correct.
about it the way. But you're right. There's times when I'll get it to start something for me I'll drop in a thought starter, and then I'll go, let me, what do you think?
True.
And that's different
Correct.
to automation or digitizing.
True.
Yeah, and so it's probably almost we've gone from here to here, and yet what are the steps along the way? What would your, a couple more questions, what would be your advice or tips? And I'm gonna put the CEO leader hat on here for businesses based on the fact we've talked around generalization. And, this, we're still a little bit off this normalization and or how it will become more integrated or interconnected into what we're doing. What would be your advice right now for CEOs and leaders when it comes to this, just the general use of AI? Like, what would you say to them, or what advice would you give them so that they're thinking less general and more, um, is it special? Is it special? Is it more specific? Like, yeah, what would your advice be? Does that make sense?
Uh,
Sort of, not
yeah,
really.
I mean, see, there are people or there are companies and startups which are already coming up with really innovative ideas in the AI space. So anybody who wants to start out and they want to use or leverage AI as a technology, it is very important to do thorough research. Try to find an industry where your work, would add value to, uh, somewhere where it can be used to benefit the community, maybe in the healthcare system, whether in the education space or maybe in any other industry. So every industry today can benefit out of this. So think about the industry that you would want to make your product enter into and make benefit, and what are the actual problems. I think that has to be, rather than creating a very generalized solution, it's very important to understand the industry, what are the problem areas over here, and how these problems can be solved by using an AI assistant. For example, in healthcare, there are many countries where it's not very easy to get the appointment of a primary healthcare. And here we are talking about maybe common flu and simple um, things, not something which is really major. So maybe if you have an AI assistant where you can just put some simple symptoms and it can at least guide you towards some simple basic medication that you can take or some basic tests that you can do, or maybe suggest that this needs to be addressed by a specialist. I think that would, because I have seen people who, in such countries, if they are not feeling well, they don't get the doctor's appointment, they have to wait in long queue. So people prefer staying at home and just taking rest for so many days because that's the only option available.
Yeah.
So in such space, that is actually one of the problem, right? And if this can be addressed in some way, um, maybe connect doctors from different parts of the world to them so they can have a virtual conversation with a doctor maybe from another country. So many things that can be curated in that way can be thought of. So I think that is very important for any entrepreneur or any startup who wants to come into this industry, to identify the industry, identify the problems, and then curate solutions along that in the creative space while using AI.
Yeah, I love that. The curating of the solutions and iterating as we go, right? Nothing's linear in this world.
So,
One last question, one last, again, it's probably another piece of advice or words of wisdom. You again, you talked around this, that you make citizens' lives better. What would be your one piece of advice around living life to the full?
so the thing is, to always have a positive mental attitude. I think that's really, really important nowadays, with so many stress levels increasing and everybody has a problem today. But every morning when you get up to go headstrong with a smile on your face, I think that's really important and that gets you going. Because the day you give up, it's just the end of the world for you. People sadly today are committing suicides because they feel that there is no way out. So that's not the case. There's always a way out. Maybe you can talk to people. I think that is also very important. As you mentioned, people nowadays have become so lonely. Everybody is in their own space. They don't want to come across, they don't want to discuss, share their problems for the fear of being judged by others. But I think it's very important to get up with that positive mental attitude towards life. Have that trust in God that something better holds for you every day. And if there are problems, discuss it, share it with your loved ones, maybe share it with people whom you feel would be the right people to guide you. And I'm sure solutions can come up. So never give up, live life to the fullest, live each day as it comes. I think these are the things that can keep one going against all the other hurdles which come your way.
I love that. I love that. Oh, thank you so much, Frida. How do we find out more about you? Because you've also got your own podcast show as well.
Yes.
I think you mentioned it was called the was it the
Professionals.
Professional Pulse?
Yes, it's the
Yes.
professional pulse. And I would like to invite you
Oh, I'd love
for
that.
my podcast
Yeah,
as well.
I'd love
Definitely.
that.
Yes,
Yes,
I
please.
will.
I love being interviewed. So
No, I will
absolutely.
invite you. I'll drop you an invite. If you
Yeah.
have a LinkedIn, this I will want you to, share your email or your LinkedIn ID with me. We are also on Spotify,
Awesome.
the Professionals Pulse. Yeah, just last month I launched the entire podcast show on Spotify as well.
I'm
So
not there
all the
yet.
episodes, there are around 40 episodes, which you can hear them on Spotify too.
Awesome. Awesome. I might have to hit you up on having a little session on getting myself onto Spotify and Apple. I'm not there yet, but that's my intention as well. But so how do we find out more about you? So obviously you've got the podcast. Where's best to
There's
get
my
your
LinkedIn page on so I think on LinkedIn you'll find out everything about us, about what both the companies are doing, what are the kind of services that we offer, about me as an individual. So yes, I think that's the best place where you can learn more about me.
Amazing, and I'll share it in the notes. Thank you so much, Frida. I've really enjoyed our chat. We went around. I do like to chop and change, and it all comes back to, I think at the end of the day, what we're talking about here is that human connection, the interconnection of it all, and that life work flow piece. But then with this rapid pace of tech, and I'll call it tech. I won't say AI or, but there's so many opportunities. It's endless. And so we have to embrace them and do it with a smile. So thank you so much for coming on, and I look forward to coming on your show no doubt soon.
Thank you so much for inviting me, and I would love to host you on my show as well.
Thank you. Thanks, Farida. Have a wonderful day.
Forward.
Thank you.
Wish you the same. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye.